Welcome back to the Mina Show featuring Lenny, only NFL podcast. One of the hosts thinks horse collars are just fine. It's dog collars he takes an issue with. That's Lenny. I'm Mina Kimes. And I am so glad to be joined ahead of week 2 of the NFL season by my friend, one of the hosts of the Football 301 podcasts over at Yahoo Sports, the great Nate Tice. Welcome back to the show.
How you doing? Week 2. It's nice as opposed to, week 1 overreactions. Week 2 always seems to fizzle a little bit from people's minds and consensus a little bit, but not on this show. We're going to very, very much have some fun with it. So I'm excited to be here.
We actually have stuff to go on. We have football to watch and study and try to extrapolate from. We have information, one piece of which I got from a listener. I'm starting with Thursday Night Football now. So I had ended it with Thursday night last week, and the Mina Kimes Show is a democracy. I put it out to the people on Blue Sky, and overwhelmingly everyone said just do it chronologically. So we are doing it chronologically. We are starting. By the way, an incredible Thursday night game we've got this week. Like one of the best on the calendar. Commanders, Packers. I mean, come on.
2 playoff teams, 2 awesome offenses, 2 fun quarterbacks. Yeah, no. This is what you hope for that opening Thursday. This was the gift to Amazon Prime from the NFL. Like here. Thank you for
and
the
early.
money. Here's
too,
a great game. Yes,
early.
an early
like
one.
Thursday night at the end of the season. It's like a slog. There's injuries. We're early on this one. 2 very buzzy teams. So as always, for the games where we're both discussing it, or we're taking both sides, I'm going to discuss a key for the home team. You're going to discuss a key for the away team. I'll go first. This game is Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay surfing off of one of the most dominant and impressive victories of week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Both sides of the ball looked fantastic. I put this. So there's a few things I want to see, but I'm going to focus on the defense in this one and Green Bay's defense.
Okay.
I kind of want to see just like if week 1 was for real, honestly, like in terms of just the dominance up front versus both the run and getting after the quarterback. So starting versus the run, that was a real like jaw-dropping performance against Detroit, holding them to 1.23 yards before contact per carry, which was 27th in the NFL. But on the other side, Washington averaged 3.5 yards per carry, just the backs, not even Jaden Daniels. I took out Jaden Daniels because that always skews the numbers. The run game in Washington looked as good as it did last year. So I think like there's an opportunity here for this Green Bay defense. Okay, it's watching it and what we're going to talk about Detroit later, obviously. I thought, how much of this is Green Bay's run defense being dominant? How much of it is the revamped Lions or the the new, probably not the right word, the interior of the offensive line? Is that an issue? This is the Packers run defense was good last year. This is the point I was trying to make after the Micah Parsons trade. So it's not like they were awful and then fixed it. They were good last year and they appear to be really good this year. But like, I think this is going to be a good litmus test for that front early on. How good are you? Are you a top 5 run defense? Are you top 3? Because that's what they look like. We won.
Yeah, they did. And what was encouraging was so many of their young guys outside of Micah Parsons were big contributors with it. I won't shut up about Lucas Van Ness, but like even guys like Colby Wooden, who looked great stopping the run, and then Devontae Wyatt on the interior. The Packers linebackers looked excellent. Both of them. Yeah, Edge Cooper and Quay Walker knows where to go now.
One of his best games of ever.
Ever. Yeah, might be at the very least on the podium for his best NFL game. And I agree with you. It's the NFL. Do it again. That's actually my question for the entire Commanders team. Do it again. Like I know it was really fun last year. Just do it again. And that's how it is for this week for maybe the Packers. I'm very high on them, very bullish. I thought a lot of that stuff was real that they did. Yeah. And this was a Lions stat that can also be a Packers defense stat. But I know we're going to talk about the Lions in a sec. But the Lions finished, this was from our friend Keegan Abdu from Next Gen Stats. Lions finished with their lowest explosive play rate since 2021. They only had 4 in the whole game. Which, we can talk about John Morton, some other stuff in a minute. But that can also is a tip of the cap to what the Packers are showing. So I'm totally with you. I think the Commanders' kind of underrated aspect is their line play, and their run games are much better than I think people realize. And even if it's not a bunch of all-stars, including Tunsil, it's still like a very productive thing, even outside the Jane Daniels stuff.
So I think,
Oh my.
the other side of that would be the pressure because Green Bay was able to get in Detroit in so many of those
Mhm.
3rd and longs, which has never
Yep.
happened for Detroit last year. You got to see the Micah Parsons effect on the entire defense. So I think he's gonna be probably lined up against Connerly in this one.
Yeah.
There
Who I
that's
like,
yeah,
but
I like him, but that's tough, man. And
yeah.
week 1, I thought Jane Daniels played well,
Mhm.
but, when the ball came out quick, as it does, and you know, and he was scrambling, but as well as he did last year. But he wasn't great under pressure. 2 for 5 for 49 yards. The Giants actually got to him a few times with their 5-man pressures, which is something I'll be interested in seeing if Green Bay does as well. I think for the Packers, whether or not they blitz or just send 4 or do some funky stuff,
Yeah.
the key is just going to be not letting Daniels escape.
That's it.
I think that's often the key with them. The Giants failed to do that. I think that's where your super speedy linebackers come into play, and they're
Yeah.
really
Great
important
call.
in this game, just because of that escapability of Daniels against the rush.
And Parsons running the same 40 time as Jane Daniels. No, the another thing too, and I just thought of as you were talking, was that the Packers have leaned into more cover two, which is actually pretty nice to run against how Daniels likes to throw the ball because he loves attacking vertically. Throwing over the middle, he's still up and down with. He likes to take one-on-ones on the outside. Cover two is the way to kind of take that away, in theory. So yeah, no, that is one. You want me to jump to my one? I gotta
Yeah,
look
what do you
into
got for
stats and
the
drops on you.
Commanders? I have a guess, but tell me
Oh,
about it.
well, this is more, can Dan Quinn slow down a Matt LaFleur offense for the first time
Ah,
ever? They're on the
oh.
same staff in Atlanta. They've coached against each other 3 times when they're both calling plays. Once LaFleur was with the Rams as the OC, but that's Sean McVay's show. Week 4, 2020, week 10, 2022, wildcard game 2023. Okay. Ready for some numbers vomited right here? All right.
This
Packers
is
in
great.
those games, the Packers quarterbacks had an explosive pass rate of 25% in those games. They averaged over 9 explosive plays a game in these games. They had a 65% passing success rate. For reference, Justin Fields had the best performance of Justin Fields. Yeah, hear this one out. Justin Fields had the best passing performance of any quarterback in week 1 at 66% dropback success rate. So basically the best of what we saw. That's their average. They averaged 143 rushing yards, 41% rushing success rate, 0.72 EPA per dropback, a passer rating of 152.2. If you want the old school stats, 158.3 is perfect for reference. 3.4 yards per drive. Now, I get it. A couple of those games had Aaron Rodgers, but we still have that card performance. This is all when he was with the Cowboys and the little Falcons. But those defenses with the Cowboys had a little bit more teeth to them than I think the Commanders defense does. So LaFleur seems to have his number. And so I'm curious
Uh,
if Quinn's got something, because this is another thing too about week 2. This is part of the preseason prep for teams. Like
yeah.
they really game plan week 1 and they really game plan week 2. And then once you get to 3, 4, it kind of goes away. So does Quinn kind of like have something to throw at it? Because in the past hasn't been too fruitful for his
Uh,
defenses.
as you were talking about that matchup, I went back to check something that I remembered vaguely, and it is as bad as I remembered. In the wild card game, Jordan Love against the Dan Quinn's Dallas Cowboys, the year that they put up a 48 burger on them. Love had used play action on 52% of dropbacks in that game, went 8 for 11 for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, a near perfect passer rating. That was just play calling, man. Like he was great. I remember that game vividly.
Yep.
Guys just wide ass open against
Hmm.
that Cowboys defense. And yeah, um, man, Commanders defense played a lot of man coverage week 1, but that was against
Yeah.
vastly
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
inferior
The
Giants
who's
offense.
who of who's
Yeah,
that.
right. I think game planning, I am interested in seeing what kind of adjustments they make there. I mean, the
Yep.
Commanders defense was my big question mark about the Commanders and like whether or not they're actually a true contender again. I don't really think you can learn that much against this Giants offense, to be honest, especially with that offensive line. We're going to learn a lot in this game,
Yes.
right? Like, can this
Yes.
Commanders team really hang with the big guys on both sides of the ball? Well, here we go. The Packers offense just destroyed Detroit. Same stuff, by the way. Like, really, they've been, there's some little tweaks in the run game and whatnot, but it's not that dissimilar from what they've been doing the last few years.
No,
Can you stop it? Because if you
that's it.
can't, it's like, all right, Commanders. I mean, I love Jay Daniels, I love the offense, but
I know. And that's the Achilles heel of it all. And it's interesting too. There's even some, Jaden Reed is, really good from the slot and probably their most consistent receiver right now. And the thing is the Commanders have Mike Sainer still there, and he's a good player. And weirdly enough, he was better on the outside than the slot last year. So like that's a matchup that's interesting. Like that can be like a nice little feather in the cap for either of those guys. You got Marshawn Lattimore out there. It's yeah, there's just a lot of kind of prove it right now because this could be a big feather in the cap again for the Commanders defenses to go like, no, well, we actually can hold up against these types of offenses, not just the Giants and Russell Wilson and the Funky Bunch.
Back to the Commanders offense before we move on
Mhm.
here. So, we talked earlier about the Packers defense and how great they were against the run and just how terrifying the pass rush looked against Detroit. I think if you're Washington, so they got to figure out something that Detroit couldn't figure out. And I think this is going to be true of every team that plays Green Bay, which is how do you actually take advantage of these corners? The Packers' biggest weakness on the roster by far is the cornerback room, but
Mhm.
Jared Goff had like a 3-yard average depth of target. I mean, he was just so clearly flustered by their inability to run the ball as well as the pass rush. I think you saw the next gen stat when Micah Parsons was on the field. He had like a half a second time to throw quicker. There were moments where like he wasn't actually pressured. He was just like, nope,
None of this.
So Daniels isn't like that. I mean, to his credit, I
No.
think like Daniels is obviously a little bit more slippery. But I do want to like what I'm interested in is like, okay, can you? Because you could tell Terry McLaurin wasn't all the way back week 1. It was a lot of Debo Samuel.
Mhm.
I think for them to win this one, McLaurin has to be a much bigger part of the game plan than Debo Samuel because I think the Packers match up pretty well against Debo.
Yeah, and those, the Packers stuff too. Like just talking about that side of the ball. Like I mentioned the name Lucas Van Ness and what they were doing with him, Micah
Go
Parsons,
inside. Yeah.
Rashawn Gary, and all that. Like that's what's curious too. You mentioned the team speed, like the Packers, and I didn't really think marinate on this until really prepping right now. This is why we do this. Is kind of just going like, wow, they just actually have team speed. That's the thing about the Commanders. They're trying to just run you off the field, like just be so fast, both how quickly they snap the ball and all that. But man, they lined up as in those fronts 7 times and they only allowed 6 yards when they had Micah, Lucas Van Ness, and Rashawn Gary all on the field. So it's like, I don't know. They actually have answers that maybe a month ago I wouldn't have really thought, but now maybe I'm extrapolating too much from week 1, but they
Yeah.
did have just such a
No.
nice showing.
Think the Commanders probably go use a lot of no huddle in
Oh yeah.
this. I mean, they
You don't
always
want
use yeah, but you're trying to minimize
subs, everything. Yep.
all
Don't
of
get
it
them
'cause
one.
yeah, you saw against Detroit, like, they were really mixing Jeff Hafley was really mixing and we didn't know how much Micah would play, but it was also,
Yeah.
like, they were really mixing it up on the back end. I think, man, anything you can do to mitigate
Good
that,
point.
anything you can do to put Parsons in conflict with, run pass, that's again, it's not because he's bad against the run, because he's Micah Parsons, you just need to stop him somehow.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's actually funny is both the ends, Gary and Parsons are actually susceptible to zone read stuff because they're like
mm,
they get kind of tunnel vision. So I
interesting.
will say I wouldn't be shocked if Gary gets caught on one and Jane Daniels just scoots out on the side on like a zone read or a read play of some sort because both Parsons get he gets us, he gambles. Usually he's right, but he does gamble on those too.
I think it's yeah, if the Commanders are gonna pull this one out, it's you gotta get Terry activated versus these
Yep,
corners, and you gotta get Jaden, as a
running,
scrambler and a design
moving.
runner. Yeah, he's gotta be on the move.
Yep.
I'm taking Green Bay. I really do not you hit it. I don't love the matchup on their offense versus the Commanders defense. I think the other side is a little bit more intriguing to
Hmm.
me. But I mean the cardiac commanders is a way of making everything close and interesting. So I'm not gonna say it's gonna be overwhelming.
I think it's gonna be a very fun game. A lot of explosives. I think both offensively and defensively, maybe for the Packers and the Commanders' offense, but I think just the Commanders' defense is they're the one of the 4 units that's like the weakest. So that's why I'm going to go with the Packers.
Yeah. I also think that I mean Packers look like Super
Like,
Bowl people.
yeah, like better than I even. I was very optimistic about them, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh wow, okay, you guys you answered a lot of questions for me. Thank you.
Commanders obviously got to you probably want to turn over Love once or twice to make this an
That's
upset
it.
as well. But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say that a million times. Okay. Uh, Staying in the NFC East off the Commanders, I'm gonna go first or next rather on Giants Cowboys.
Okay.
Um, so I wrote, "Can Dallas run the ball the way they did in week 1?" That's what I wanna see, the way they did
Yeah.
against Philadelphia, for a couple of reasons. I think that New York is gonna play them pretty similarly. Last week, New York against Jane Daniels, ton of single high, selling out to stop the run. That I think they're gonna play them the way I think every team is gonna play Dallas, which is you're gonna see a lot more 2 high shells, light boxes. Just
Hmm.
they don't have nobody has the horses to keep up with these 2 receivers, right, consistently. So Dallas, week 1 had a 59% rushing success rate. That was second best in the NFL.
Yeah, I was stunned when I saw that. I felt like that, or it felt
It
good,
felt
but I
it
was
felt
that
good, yeah.
it wasn't that was way good.
Against
That's
Philly.
exceptional. Yeah,
Great,
well,
without
no
Jalen
Jalen Carter.
Carter,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But usually when that number is too skewed by quarterbacks, and they don't even have a running quarterback.
Nope.
So, I mean, Javonte Williams looked rejuvenated. I thought the interior of
Yes.
the offensive line, again, versus
Yep, yep.
no Carter, looked really good.
Mhm.
Um,
I agree.
so
Guyton looked okay. Like, Guyton
it's like
still kind of a
so
project. Shout out Clayton Adams. Shout out their new offensive coordinator slash line coach, basically.
some fun stuff in the run game, tight ends on the field, moving bodies. So this matters, of
I'm
course,
with you.
because you don't want to be in third and long against this Giants pass rush, which Washington did a good job of staying out of, and because they were able to run the ball on them pretty effectively.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like this as a litmus test for this Cowboys because the Cowboys offense looked exactly like I thought they would look when they traded for George
Right.
Pickens, right? Which is like what happens when you have 2 number 1 wide receivers. Oh, there's this trickle down effect on the entire defense, and you get to be more balanced as a result, as long as your offensive line is competent. It looked great. Can
Mhm.
you do it again?
That's it.
Yeah, I think, if they can, then I think they're gonna be in a lot of games this season, regardless of
Yes.
what's going on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, it's such a high floor offense between I think with what especially how that run game looked, but I just know Dak is a passer too. Yeah, no, Pickens is one of these X receivers that does dictate coverage. He does get that respect because he's just so good vertically. There's not a lot of guys that are truly can win one on one, stop routes, go routes, and like curls and comebacks, which are, if you think in the slot is like a helicopter, the outside is like a plane. Like that is your vertical, you're straight and going, and that's the route tree that you have to run. Not a lot of guys can win like that, and he can. So what the defenses do is they run cover two. But the thing is, they have CD Lamb. Put CD Lamb, and he's the best from the slot. And we get to see kind of that in action last week. I know that was exactly what I wanted to see from the Cowboys. I did not have them as a playoff team, but it was just kind of one of those where I was like, I do think the offense will be sneaky, not sneaky good, but like pretty dang good because it just the weaknesses aren't that weak. Like, yeah, they don't have a great running back, but man, the whole line is it's good. They got good coaches. Like, I don't know. It's weird talking about the Cowboys right now.
I know, it's but
It's
it's
just
true.
really weird.
I posted it, like, it was infuriating, though, because I was like, "If they
Yeah,
kept Parsons, this is the team that's actually
I'm
100% in
feeling
the
good about
mix."
them.
It's right, the
Yep.
offense has the potential to be a top 10 offense. It looks like it. Dak looks
Mhm.
great. Dak looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this weekend again.
I know.
Whatever.
It's
Um,
weird.
real
Yeah,
quick on
Giants
this
side
game.
is yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, sorry, before we move on, real quick, one more on this game. So they are starting Russell Wilson again.
Yeah.
Um, what are your thoughts on whether or not that's the right decision, and how long do you think Dable can stick with it before giving in?
It's I've looked at their schedule, and they have the hardest schedule in the NFL going into the season. I know those things change, but if you look at it, it's so hard to find like a soft landing spot for
I
him.
know.
Like their Thursday night
This
game,
is
they
kinda
play
it, though.
yeah, if yeah, this one would be a
Yeah,
bad one,
right.
right?
Yeah, right.
Because you want them like the perfect storm is a home game after the bye. That is what you want to drop your rookie in. Their bye week's not till week 14. And then okay, so you look at their mini buys, like so they have the Thursday night game against the Eagles. I want to say week 6 or week 7. And so that's Thursday night, but then I think the next game is on the road at Denver, which is I think
It's
both of
bad.
ours number 1 defense
Can't
going
do
into the
that.
season
Yeah.
on the road in Denver. No, like, so
No.
it's really, I think there's going to be a spot week 9, week 10. They have a home game at some point around there. I just did a
Yeah.
show where I looked at the schedule. That's why I know it off the top of my head. And that was the landing spot for me. But we know that he's going to start him Dable. Like,
Yeah.
this is his lottery ticket. This is his meal ticket to get more years. But that offensive line is
It looks so bad.
horrendous.
I mean, Andrew
Horrendous.
Thomas is gonna come back at some point. That's also probably gonna be a catalyst in their decision making. Like, there ain't no way they're putting him in there
No,
until Andrew Thomas is healthy.
no, nope.
No
I
way.
mean, and just they had one of the highest passing rates last week. I know the game script and all that, but it's just like they need to be with Russ, and you know this, who and I actually both of us know this being around Russ and his offenses. They have to be explosive through the air. You cannot nickel and dime with Russell Wilson, especially now, and really with this Giants offense because they don't have an offensive line to run the ball. So they have to be explosive through the air. And it's just like, how do you do that with Russ? Okay, vertical goes. Well, Wendell Robinson's getting a lot of touches. That's not a vertical go guy. Malik Neighbors has some great ball skills. I'd much rather have him working underneath intermediate. And they
Yeah.
did no, and they did like no play action last week either. I know the offensive line, all that, but it's like that's how you get unlock Russ a little bit. Just let him chuck these things. So I don't know. Their math doesn't math for me. Like I just like I can't. I really like to try find answers for bad units, and they're one of those units where I'm like, man. And if you start Dart, who takes sacks behind this offensive line, that's scary to me as well. So it's yeah, it's weird. And now they can't tackle on defense either, which is just a whole nother
That
another
was
another thing.
actually a bigger letdown than the offensive line because I thought
Agreed.
this defense would look better. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, Rams Titans is you.
Oh, Rams Titans me. Now I just got to find it in my notes. Did I go 10? All right, Rams Titans. Where are you? There we go. Oh, trenches on both sides. That's really how it comes down to it. There's a couple trench notes. I try to change up how I how I define them, but for the Titans, can they run the ball in this game? Because I think they have to have any success on offense this year, and it's how they're built. They invested a lot in that offensive line. A little shaky last week. Pierce Skronsky is playing really weird right now. And then the other guys were actually fine. JC Latham is just a bull on the outside. Him against Jared Verse is going to be a really fun power versus power matchup. And then the other side is, can the Rams keep Stafford upright? I mean, that's what their offense has to be this year, because he's going to stand and deliver. And it looked great last week against a Texans rush that's insane.
Insane.
Jeffrey's yeah, insane. And Jeffrey Simmons looked amazing for the Titans last week.
He did,
Like
yeah.
true. So that's the thing, is like, if you look at that Rams offensive line, that's kind of where you'd pick too. So you try to get that internal
Yeah.
pressure on Stafford. So it's really just the trenches in this game, because that's the only thing that can really hinder, I think, the Rams this season. Stafford's just getting hit time after time.
Yeah, the Rams offensive line last week did not look great to me. Granted, against one of, like a
Yeah, top
just
three
a
pass rush.
terrifying
Yeah.
pass rush,
Yeah.
who looked as good as ever.
Hmm.
They really were mostly able to get to their explosives through play action, and against the Tech. Even it's funny, Nate. Like even Stafford's numbers against play action were using play action were really, really good, and they used it a lot. But when you watched him, it wasn't like guys were wide open. Like every single play action throw was like a tight window throw. Puka Nacua is just a dog. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, just like
A
it's
top
just
five
crazy.
receiver. Yeah.
Like, I mean, every guys were all over them, and in the
Yep.
secondary. So, I think for Tennessee, like defending the play action pass, really not getting, taking away those throwing lanes for Stafford if they can, and getting to proper depths is going to be massive in this one. Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry, we forgot to pick Giants Cowboys. I always forget to do picks. I'm
Cowboys.
taking the Cowboys. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Cowboys.
So
Yeah.
I'm taking the Rams in this one. I will say I thought we're gonna get to
Yeah.
Bo Nix, but in Denver, but Titans defense not bad,
Yeah,
pretty well
I
coached.
agree.
That was something I underrated going in. Because I saw their numbers last year were actually not that bad, and I kind of overlooked it because I was like, I don't know, there's not enough talent, pass rush. But this is like a well coached group.
Mhm.
They're not soft.
And they did some funky stuff. It got Knicks a couple times. Yeah, no, and I agree. I think this is a much better defense than people give it credit for. Simmons and Sweat are an awesome combo. Tavondre Sweat, because he's just eating up space in the middle. I thought Sneed had a nice game. L'Jarius Sneed, if I remember correctly, that was his number. They were really well game planned, or really well scouted the Broncos really well. Like a lot of the Broncos staples they had an answer for, where the guys were already going, adjusting and doing what they have
Exactly
to
what
do.
I was saying to Dominique about Knicks' well, okay, let's save that for the Broncos. I have a
Also,
lot.
Cam Ward was fun. And that's
So
another
I
thing.
actually
Cam
wrote
Ward's
down
fun.
Cam Ward watching future Cam Ward question mark, because I can tell. I bet
Right.
he loves Matthew Stafford. Like just the vibes, the way he plays, the
Hmm.
throws he attempts. Yeah, I mean, catch the damn ball, Calvin Ridley. Please catch the
Oh
ball.
man.
It's
and run
frustrating.
the right route. He had some botches too. I know, and I love Calvin Ridley. He's really disappointing me too.
Really
No,
disappointing.
Gunnar Helm is probably his most trustworthy, or the receiver, tight end that he is most trusted in is Gunnar Helm, which is
He's
from Texas.
Yeah,
Which
he has
is,
nice hands, though. I actually like him a
yeah,
little
I
bit as
like
a play
Gunnar.
cut. Okay. I wanted to do both sides of Seahawks Steelers because I think this is okay, like a good heat check for Pittsburgh after winning last week. I'll go first. I'm on the Steelers. Uh, so what I wrote down is Rodgers versus Mike McDonald. I think is
Okay,
like the matchup that I'm
that's a fun
interested
one.
in. So, because last week Rodgers' performance, I don't think we talked about Justin Fields earlier in the week and how good he was. Rodgers was incredibly efficient, very low, 4.7 air yards per attempt. Okay. But however, something that I think when he used quick game, which was a lot, 2.5 seconds or less, they had the highest first down rate in the NFL, 0.56 EPA per play. Anything over 2.5 seconds that dropped to
Okay,
0.03 EPA per play.
okay,
So he was peppering them, but accurate, set up receivers to get yards after the catch, good play calls on the part, I thought, of Arthur Smith. So now you go up against a Seahawks defense that's going to try to take all that away. You're going to have guys dropping into his throwing windows. You're going to have guys closing on. It's a better tackling defense than the Jets. There's no one Brandon Stevens to pick on. So I think like what I'm interested in for Rodgers, like last week, it looked good. It was clean. It was efficient. You were able to, slowly matriculate your way downfield. But this is a much stiffer challenge for that brand of offense that really does force you to run the football well and be explosive in a way they just weren't last week.
yeah. It's oh man, Steelers are weird for me because I'm like, oh yeah, this defense is a kick, and look at, and they're just getting
Yeah, rock.
blown off the line of scrimmage by the Jets, who I do like the Jets, and I like what and like a lot of what the run game is going to be. It's which we saw last week, but I don't know. This is just one of those games too where it's like I actually think the Seahawks match up really well. Like the as far as because what the Jets ran last week was a bunch of zone runs, and that was just it was just so curious to me. No, but with the Rodgers stuff too, if I want to hold on before I get to my Seahawks point, but what Rodgers to me is that the two touchdowns that were on bootlegs were the exact same
Yeah.
play, and it looked more like botches. I mean, the nice play to Calvin Austin, that was nice, throwing that one. One was the jet sweep. I thought DK Metcalf had some nice moments where all those bubbles and
Yeah.
smokes and
Breaking
everything. DK,
tackles. Yeah.
I know, like, but DK can change direction like that now. Like that actually looked really nice. Like, and so there's more to it than I figure out the freaking running back rotation, which is hilarious. They play Kenneth Gainwell, and they're like, yeah, we can't play a rookie because Rogers doesn't trust him in protection. The Kenneth Gainwell goes back there and botches protections. Like, great job, guys. Way to really develop some talent there. But no, I do. Can I get into some Seahawks run game stats versus
Yeah,
this and
let's
all
do that
this?
because I do think your point, and I'm going to get to the Jets side of it later. I want to talk about the Jets, but yeah, they got
Yeah.
rocked on the ground.
Yeah, they did. So last week, the Jets on zone runs. This is from FTN. Zone runs versus Steelers defense. 31 zone runs. 31 zone runs. Again, that's the number. The next highest team that ran zone runs was the Colts with 23. Only other team above 20.
31 is crazy.
Ridiculous. It was basically every run. I don't think they even had like a gap scheme run off the top of my head. 139 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, a touchdown, 45% success rate. I don't know if you know this, Mina, but the Seattle Seahawks have an offensive coordinator that's part of an offensive system that likes the zone run in
Yeah.
Clint Kubiak. And they average 5.1 yards per carry on zone runs in week one with a 55% success rate. The Jets offensive line is better, but I actually thought the Seahawks offensive line run game wise was doing some nice stuff across the board, other than, the right guard had some issues, but like across the other guys, I thought were pretty dang good. Gray Zabel looks awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
he looked
so,
good.
so I think they're going to have be able to just pound the rock. Like, I think this is going to be a nice run play action, what you expect out of a Kubiak offense,
Yeah.
because I think that's what those Steelers are susceptible to.
How much do you think, though, the Steelers being susceptible to that had to do with the presence of Fields on those zone runs as well?
Oh, definitely a part of it, but they did some under center stuff, and it was just true zone. Like, there
Yeah.
was a true outside and inside zone. Yes, but there was some read stuff that was part of it. The Steelers they actually play, QB read games really well. Like, the Steelers have always held Lamar to lower yardages than you would expect. Jane Daniels didn't run well against them last year. Where I do think that Sam Darnold can run a little bit, but I do think just the straight runs and outside zones is where kind of like they're still susceptible to it. Their linebackers are a little shaky. Like, they're fast, but they kind of fast in the wrong direction sometimes.
Yeah, I think that there is potential for the Seahawks offense, pardon me, to look better this week than they did last week. That's another man.
Yeah,
I thought Steelers defense would look much better than that. I had them as a top 10 defense, and there were some
same.
major issues, particularly not just on the ground against the run, but that really
Yeah.
jumped out. But they got, Slay. They got it went after like the Jets were able to like hunt them through the air as well in a way that I did not see coming. Um, I think for Pittsburgh on that side of the ball, you really just need your pass rush to go crazy in this, particularly on third down, because you saw the usual kind of like Darnold getting rattled by that. Um, I'm taking Seattle. I didn't take Seattle last week, to be clear. I picked the Niners.
Cool.
And for me, it's really, I just think this Mike McDonald defense is going to. I'm not saying that the Steelers' offense last week was fool's gold or whatnot, because I think
Yeah.
that is how they're going to win against a lot of defenses. I just think this defense is going to be a lot better at taking away some of the things we saw them, the easy stuff against the Jets.
Yeah. I think the Jets defense is pretty, from a quarterback perspective, pretty easy to read. I'm also taking Seattle, but pretty easy to diagnose. I think that's why Rodgers had some success too. Glenn likes to run quarters on first and second down and man coverage on third and fourth down. It's pretty easy to figure out. Even I could do that without looking up the numbers. But I also just think that Rodgers last year too, last couple of years, he's been, last couple of years has been really kind of bad against the blitz. Like, he kind of hasn't really found the answers that he used to because defenses have evolved to what he likes to usually find. Well, that's what McDonald does, some great stuff, simulateds and creepers and blitzing. So I just think the Seahawks have a lot of natural answers. They don't have to do anything extraordinary to find good answers here. I'm also curious, like, Slay is a huge target for other teams to target. Only a couple targets he got last week, gave up the touchdown. JSN, okay, let's move him out of the slot, away from Ramsey, away from Joey Porter Jr. We're moving to the opposite side. Like, there's ways to get after Slay as well. Like, this might be a Torrey Horton bomb.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the Seahawks really need someone other than Tory, other than probably
Oh,
JSN I mean, it was
he took all the
insane.
targets.
Yeah. By the way, you talked about the simulated pressures. I just pulled it up. Uh, Last year, Leonard Williams dropping and then pick sixing Rodgers. Do you remember that when the Jets
Yes, I
played
do.
the Seahawks? Yeah. So like
Mhm.
I think that's the kind of thing you're talking about there. We might see some.
Exactly.
Okay. Keep it moving. I will go next with Bills. I'm gonna do Bills Jets because it's kind of tied to what we were just talking about. I wrote, can the Jets option ground game kill Buffalo the way Baltimore's did? I mean, maybe. Right? Like, I think on the other side of the ball, Josh Allen will have no problem moving the ball in this Jets defense. But um, two sides of this. One is the Jets side. Holy smokes, the rushing attack looked like everything we hoped, everything we dreamed it would. Every offseason podcast, and I'm sure you're the same, we did about the Jets was just like, can they run the ball? Can
That's it.
Justin Fields be a threat to run? Can this offensive line take the leap that we thought they would? And yes, yes, yes. I mean, Brees Hall, 5.6 yards per carry, 53% success rate, so good under center, as you talked about the zone
Mhm.
running game. Justin Fields, 12 carries, 48 yards, 67% success rate. And man, going back and watching some of those Baltimore runs against Buffalo, just until the end when everything changed in those last two drives, it was such a like nightmare. Like the linebackers were just getting like out leveraged, missed
Mhm.
tackles, safeties coming from bad angles. It was
Mhm.
obviously the Ravens have one of, if not the best rushing attacks in football, but it was really concerning. And so I think if I'm New York, like I'm watching that and thinking, let's make all of the same guys tackle
Yep.
because we got a pretty damn good running game as well.
I've made jokes before in the past, like, "Oh, this game's a race to 20. Oh, this game is a race to 10 points. This game might be a race to 40." Like in the sense because I do think again, Jets have a natural answer. They want to run. They just want to run it over and over and over. And I will say that I thought Wide Fields had the best success rate, best EPA per play or EPA per drop, I should say, of his entire career in a single game. He had the best success rate in the entire NFL in week one, was because I thought that the offensive system was really conducive to what he's good at. The RPOs weren't over the middle. The RPOs were out routes to the outside. That's what Fields has been comfortable with his entire career, including back to Ohio State. I thought he was just playing fast. He stepped up in the pocket. I'm like, Justin Fields is stepping up in the pocket. What did you guys do with him? Like, this is great. But again, they're built around the run game. They have two amazing backs, and even their number 3 back is pretty good. And then both of the
Yeah.
tackles, Olu Fashanu had a great week one. Armand Membu had a great week one. I switched between Membu and
One of the
Membao.
best week 1 rookie tackle performances I've seen. I mean,
In recent years. I know.
I was this game. I was like locked into this game for some reason. I mean, not for some reason. It was amazing. It was like the best game of like,
Yeah,
the
it was.
mornings, like, by far. And I just Fox was just making fun of me, but I was like, dude, I could not take my eyes off this dude versus TJ Watt.
Yeah.
TJ
Yeah.
Watt.
It's not a nobody. I know I don't know. I think the Jets might run it 40 times. Like
Yeah.
I see until the Bills stop it. Like, and that's the other thing is the Jets now can go bully ball with 2 tight ends. Mason Taylor played a bunch of snaps. He's a solid blocker, especially on zone. But then
Yeah.
Jeremy Ruckert played well. Like the Jets tight ends have been so bad in recent years, and it's mostly because they had the same coach there for like 20 years. It seemed like, and it really seemed like Ruckert finally like became what I thought he was going to be out of Ohio State. He's a good blocker, can do some receiving stuff. So I don't know. Again, the Jets just have natural answers, and that's why I'm kind of focused. I know what the Bills' offense is going to be. Like I know what they could do,
Yeah.
and then the Jets' defense is pretty predictable. I know the Bills are going to score points. Like there's no like, oh, can the Jets get them? They don't have the horses to run the defense that Aaron Glenn wants them to run right now. They need another corner. Like Brandon Stevens is just a big, gigantic target on his back.
Who could have seen
So
that coming?
he was one of the worst corners in the game last year as far as just nearest defender. And last week, I think the same thing. he got torched again.
If Calvin
So,
Austin climbs the ladder on you,
right. Come on.
what are we doing here?
Climbs
Okay,
the ladder
wait.
on you.
Okay, Jets. Our Bills are 7. I'm gonna pick the Bills. We're just do straight up, but 7.5.
I know. Bills, but a Jets cover. And
Just
I
saying.
think this can be a pretty fun game, actually. This is a kind of a freak show game for me.
Yeah. I if the Jets do it again, which is to say, if the offense is fun again, then I'm officially adopting them as like my sneaky snack team.
My co-host Matt Harmon at Yahoo keeps making fun of me. He's like, "They're your 2022 Falcons," and I'm like, "Yeah, but don't do that again to me. Don't do that again to me. I don't
Tanner
want to fall in
Engstrand,
love."
my guy, if he does this with keeps doing it with Justin Fields, he ain't gonna be in the Jets for long.
Nope.
Especially watching Detroit. Okay, keep moving. You've got Pat's Dolphins.
Oh man,
Woof woof.
I kept it simple. I was just like, can Drake May have his kind of breakout performance against a pillow soft Dolphins back seven? He had a really high usage last week and good success rate. He was kind of finishing middle of the pack. He sprayed a couple in the rain, but then also had some great throws. Kind of just looked like kind of like a standard May performance so far. I thought he was solid though. One of those on rewatch, I liked it better than maybe as I was watching on TV. And I don't know, the Dolphins front. I mean, we've all been staring at the Dolphins like, look at this train wreck happening in front of us. The front's supposed to be their best part of their team, really, and they didn't do
Really
much.
that was by far the most disappointing
I agree.
aspect of this.
I got all hyped up about their front. I was like, these guys are going to really keep them in games. And then the offense has been kind of solved. I think, the Patriots defense coordinator is taking some time off, but
I'm
like,
just about to mention that because I saw that right before.
Right before it came on, I know.
So this is the Dolphins are the classic like game plan against team. Okay, can you game plan? Can you run the game plan? Because we kind of know what it is, but can also you teach it? Can you guys implement it? Can you execute it? Can you do like I that was actually my dork intrigue for Colts Dolphins week 1. I wanted to see Lou Anarumo do the game plan.
Yeah.
Great.
Just throw some game plan at it.
Well, we know what it is. You know, you gotta get them off the first read. You gotta take away throwing
Yep.
windows in the middle of the field. You gotta get guys to landmarks. So I'm kind of interested in seeing, what that looks like for the Pats as well. I don't think the Pats defense was bad per se. I just think Geno killed them through the air and made some, Geno throws against the blitz.
Yeah.
Um,
They
but
got
yeah,
caught emotionally blitzing a couple times. That's, yeah, Vrabel. Yeah, they came out a couple times at the worst moments. I was like, "Vrabel, oh,
I
just
think
woosah."
your main point is really yeah, right. Your main point is that he wasn't horrible against the Raiders, but it was very much like we have like a veteran quarterback on one side and a rookie on. That's how I felt watching him against Geno
A young
Smith.
guy.
I always call him Geno Smith, professional quarterback, and like that's kind of what it was. I'm gonna take the Pats in this. Maybe that's. I'm not gonna try to catch the Dolphins' falling knife. I'm gonna put that.
No, no, I'm going Patriots all the way. Even Christian
Maybe,
Gonzalez is out, and usually I'd be like, "Oh, going against Tyreek Hill
yeah.
and Waddle." And it's like, guess what? I Tyreek Hill is taking away all fear because of just what he is, the non-captain Tyreek Hill. And I think Jalen Waddle got banged up last week too. So yeah, no, I just even with Gonzalez out, potentially out, it's just like I don't know. I just think the Patriots will find a way.
All right. Saints, Niners. Niners, Saints. This one is just me. We got some news here. Just broke now. Adam Schefter reports 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan told reporters that Brock Purdy could miss multiple weeks and that he's a long shot to play Sunday at New Orleans. Mac Jones is in line to start. Of course, there's not irony, but there's a lot of history here because there was a lot of reporting around the Trey Lance Mac Jones draft that indicated that Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. Well, now he finally gets to start him. So George Kittle is also missing in this game. A few ways to look at this, I think, with Mac. He is not walking into, there's been Niners backup quarterbacks who have walked into great situations and reproduced well. This is not a great situation. Absence of Kittle looms large, already a banged up receiver group. The offensive line, I thought, really struggled a bit last week, admittedly, against a very good Seahawks defense. Brock Purdy was pressured 26 times, 6 were unblocked. The Saints pass rush is not as good as Seattle's, but that is a concern. Um, I just wrote as a key, they got to run the football better than they did last week. They averaged under 2 yards before contact per carry. They got Christian McCaffrey activated in the passing game. I think that's going to be a big part of this one again. But they go up against Saints defense that looked pretty solid against the run week 1, but I am not convinced is going to be a very good run defense. Demario Davis has been good against Christian McCaffrey historically in the passing game. So, yeah, I just think if they want to run the football and play action off of that, it's going to start up front for them. I will say before we move on, I thought Spencer Rattler was not terrible against the Cardinals. Saints are not a very good football team. There are issues on both sides of the ball, but I thought at least he looked competent, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to activate the receivers against this Niners secondary. This is now really hard. I was going to pick the Niners with Brock Purdy. I think I'm still going to pick the Niners here. Just because I think that the Niners defense is improved and they're probably the best unit now on the field between the 4 of them, but this is obviously going to be very ugly and just continued brutal injury luck for San Francisco 49ers. Okay, before the break, Jags Bengal. I like this game. I'm interested in this game.
Like this
This is you though. I gave it to you. All that said, I gave it to you.
I just said the key to this game is competency for any of these 4 units. That's the key to this game. Can the Bengals offense be the Bengals offense? Like, please, in September, could you look like how I thought you're going to look like? And then can their defense be like an NFL defense? I don't think so. Shamar Stewart had some nice moments, but and then I think for the Jags too, can Trevor Lawrence put together 4 quarters? Like
Yeah.
I am a Trevor Lawrence guy, and I'm starting to go like, all right, enough of these B minuses. Like I need an A, like a flat A out of you. Which I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And then the Jags defense, you're going against Carolina. Like they did some nice things, I will say, but you're still starting Andrew Wingard at safety. Like that's kind of all I need to say. So it's one of those, all right, any of these units, do something that makes me kind of feel good coming out of it.
I have a Jags thought I wanna get to, but real quick, like, what when you watch the Bengals offense, because this was, like, quietly one of the more disappointing performances of week 1 in
Mhm.
my opinion, but just nobody watched the game, so it didn't get talked about because it wasn't an island game and it was against the Browns. Like, what do you think was the biggest problem?
God, it was just like when they get a top put on them as far as
Yeah.
like and you get heated up, that's the terrible combo for them. Burrow is very patient, but he gets antsy and wants to start taking shots and wants to start doing double moves and starting doing that. But they were just never able to get into that rhythm of it. Like I thought he was pressured. I thought he was kind of, I don't say jittery, but he wanted to get the ball out quick. Everyone saw the clip of Myles Garrett looping around. I don't think the offensive line was that terrible or anything. Like it wasn't great, but it's just one of those where I thought they got impatient and they just kind of couldn't get over the hump. So I don't know. I'm a believer in the Bengals offense this year. Not the Bengals team. Did not make them have them making the playoffs. I think I kind of know what they are because I think the defense is stinky. But I don't know, that it was a little disappointing because I've been kind of very bullish on the kind of what that I thought they were going to be going into this year.
So I'm very tempted to pick the Bengals or Jags, pardon me, in this one because I
What
think
is the
that
spread?
I don't know. Actually, yeah, let me know. But I think that the Bengals defense
It's bad.
is worse than they looked week 1. I think that was Browns. And I think Jacksonville's going to be able to run on them.
You think
I
so?
texted you at some point, like some unhinged time of night, Brenton Strange blocking his ass off. But
Yeah.
can we talk about because
Love
the
Brenton
Jags
Strange.
rushing? So this is a longer conversation. I talked to oh no, this was something I got into an NFL live with Dan. When these really great offensive coordinators leave, they're often not able to bring their run games with them because they're not bringing their offensive lines with them. Cough, cough, Chicago. We just saw that, right? Um, so when Liam Cohen came to Jacksonville a whole offseason, I was like, I really like this. I love BTJ and Trevor Lawrence, or not Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter. But like, oh, this offensive line, can they run the football? And oh, they signed Robert Hainsey and McCarry. Okay. They ran the piss out of that thing,
They
and
did.
I just going back and, like, first of all, it was all the big runs came out of 12 personnel, and
Mhm.
Brenton Strange delivering, like, key blocks on, like, every single explosive run. It was, like, a lot of split flow, but I thought terrific job using motion to
Mhm.
move to second level defenders. Hainsey had a couple of great blocks. McCarry on, like, a big power run stood out to me. I thought the run game was so heartening to watch out of this Jack because I think that was my concern. Is this Jacksonville just going to be all candy bombs away? You got these two receivers. Nah,
Yep.
they looked like substantive in a way that I think is going to this Bengals defense presents an opportunity to continue.
This is the biggest difference between the end of Doug Peterson and now what I saw from week 1, because I totally agree with you. I've been kind of with Liam Cohen, been kind of like I've been encouraged and like was pretty optimistic of what he could be, but I was like, man, this is a young staff. The offensive line's a little iffy. Da, 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 da. But like you say, like you just pointed out, like they actually looked competent. Like nobody was botching a protection and going the wrong way. They might have lost one on one, or nobody was doing a route concept where two guys are in the same spot, or they're just doing the same thing over and over, which is what happened with Doug Pearson and actually Urban Meyer's offense before that. But it's just really, it was significant to me that they got rid of Tank Bigsby because even though I got him in exactly 0 fantasy leagues, Bashal Tutin, I do think is going to take over this backfield as time goes along. Just has the juice. They still don't trust Travis Etienne in protection. So like it's going to be I think the two young guys are going to really help bring some juice to this run game. All three backs got a little bit of juice now. And I do think that the offensive line will get overwhelmed by some teams, but it's not this team. This is not the team I think that will overwhelm them. Yeah, I really just thought their misses were Trevor saw the right things. He just missed throws or they had a drop. Like, but that's to me is not a bad concept football. That's just,
Yeah,
doing your assignments and accomplishing
guys
the
were open. I mean,
yeah.
this offense
So
as a
I'm
whole.
I'm I'm with you. I know the Panthers defense is stinky, but it's just one of those where it's like, no, this is what
What
you hope to see.
what was that line? You looked it up.
3.5. Bengals are 3.5 favorites. Over unders at 48.5.
All right. Well, I'm picking the Bengals straight up. I think this is a bounce back game for the Bengals offense. So
Oh, you said you were tempted. You went.
I was tempted. I'm taking straight up. I might take the Jags to cover.
I'm gonna go with.
I know all that run game talk.
I'm gonna go with the Jags.
I love
Even with the 3. Yeah, it's just my bad unit. I bet against the bad units. That's what I do, and the Bengals have the worst unit in this game.
All right, let's take a quick break, come back, and talk about NFC North showdown. All right, we're back. The 0-1 Bears versus the 0-1 Lions. Must-win game for certainly Detroit, I would argue. I'm on Detroit. You go first. What's
Okay.
key for the Bears in this
You
one?
already you already hinted at it. Can the Bears get their run game going? I
Yeah,
know
but can
everybody's
they?
talking about Caleb Williams and this and that missed throw and him scrambling too much. Well, Drew Dahlman's got to earn his paycheck, and DeAndre Swift has to earn his paycheck because that run game sucked. That game was terrible. And this is supposed to be what lifts the floor of the team. Like that's the whole theory of why you get Joe Tooney and you get Jonah Jackson and then you get Drew Dahlman. Like, so yeah, and this is why I wanted them to invest in a running back in the 3rd round, preferably. I thought there were some good backs, maybe in day 3. There's some backs that you could have gotten here. They had a 19% success rate, the worst of week 1. And that's kind of really
Is that
it.
counting Caleb or no? No, right? Because
That I believe that is counting. No, that's not counting cable. That is
okay, yeah,
design
yeah,
runs.
yeah, yeah. Right.
So yeah, 19%. So it is, yeah, that, I mean, they have to. I thought, and just my Caleb kind of side, watching it back, I thought he made a lot of good decisions. He misses the throws. I think my 2 theories with it are when he hitches, his accuracy can spray, like when he hitches and has to progress. And the other is that I think he throws the ball way too freaking hard, and he tries to be perfect. He's trying to
Yeah.
lead guys as he throws it hard, and it's just physics. He's got to pin it on guys. I don't know. I actually came away not as disheartened, to use even that term, as I think the public is on it. I actually thought it was perfectly fine performance. I know that's crazy to say, but I thought it
Well,
was
I know I went on a rant on our show yesterday. I was like, did people forget that the Vikings defense is like a top 5, like they're one of the best defenses in the NFL?
and really hard to
And
go against because
I
what they throw
really
at you.
I really did feel like the discrepancy in the run game in the 4th quarter kinda like it was a
It was the whole game.
decisive factor. I mean, and also credit to the Vikings front office because both sides went shopping and one team appeared to have gotten a lot better value for their interior
Mhm.
offensive line in this one with Ryan Kelly and company, as well as the trade for Jordan Mason. We'll get to the Vikings side, who I
Yeah,
thought looked awesome in that game.
I agree.
What I mean, DeAndre Swift.
It was exactly what I was hoping to see out of the Vikings offense. I was like, yeah, that's what I've been saying this whole offseason. Yeah, there it is
Uh, yeah,
right
Swift
there.
Swift did not. I just yeah, I don't
He's
I
not. He's my one of my least favorite backs. Nothing against him, the guy, but just how he plays and him
his
bouncing around.
vision
Stuff.
is, like, so
Awful.
frustrating
It's
from the
always been awful.
all-22 angle.
Always been bad.
Yeah, okay, so on the Detroit side of it, speaking of interior offensive lines, that's what I'm locked in on here. Um, it was really a rough outing week 1 against Green Bay, but as we discussed early on, the Packers might just be world destroyers up front.
Right.
So, and there's also this is a new group playing together on the inside in Detroit. So you'd like to see some improvement there. Um, I
Feel like
I'm worried. I mean,
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
worried.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
worried. I'm worried about okay, let's take a minute here. Like
Let's do it. No. Actually, no. I actually do want to do a
Lions
rough draft
offense.
on my
Yeah. Like,
lines.
well,
Yeah.
what is the level of concern you have? Because I have some. It starts with the IOL, clearly.
Yes.
To me, it's pretty obviously the biggest problem.
IOL and the OC. And I thought the play sequencing was, yeah, I had concerns about John Morgan going into the season. Anyone that listens to Football 301, Lions fans are really confused because I've been one of the biggest Lions Dan Campbell guys for the last few years. And then I predicted they wouldn't make the playoffs this year. Um, I'm concerned because just some of the play sequencing where if a bad play happened, they ran duo, just a nice simple run play. Like even me watching without charting, I could tell that was happening, which to me was a panic call. Like I don't know what to call here, something safe. The Lions, I mean, they had their 22.7% success rate. This is the Lions. They should be cooking 40% or above every single game because that is the identity of the team, not even just the offense. The team
Yeah.
is based on the run game. That's the second worst rushing success rate of the Dan Campbell era. It's their worst since week 16 of 2022. Again, you're going into the hornet's nest of Lambeau with that defense fired up and everything, but 22.7%. That's such an outlier to me. And they had the lowest explosive play rate. I already mentioned that stat. Like it just felt to me, guys were making mistakes. I know the interior line is young. They're going to have those moments. Like Tate Ratledge is going to have those moments. But I just even thought that there was just like a lack of confidence in some of the stuff. Like the first play of the game, again, there's some of this is canary in the coal mine stuff. The first play of the game, they ran to the left at Lucas Van Ness with Sam Laporta at the point of attack. Love Sam Laporta, the receiver. Sam Laporta is one of the worst blocking tight ends in the league. He tries, but he's not very good. That was your first play of the entire season, was to run behind Sam Laporta. That was like, I know I'm again extrapolating, but these were what my concerns going into the season. And I'm like, he did nothing to dissuade me from like going like, oh no, actually it's not so bad. And then you saw Jared Goff going underneath. Like this offense not having those on play action, hit some of those daggers or overs that he's so good at throwing. That's not the formula for this team. And so, yeah, I am pretty concerned. That's just the offense. The defense is concerning too, because I thought they had so many botches, like guys just not covering guys or looking at each other going palms up. So yeah, I'm actually, if it was 1 to 5, like 5, just like, yeah, truly like, holy crap, what the hell's going on? I'm like 4 right now with the arrow pointing up.
The offensively, there's definitely a bit of a get right opportunity, I think, because I s- I think the Bears defense is better this year than last year, and I think the pass defense is gonna be really good, but I still think there's some vulnerability against the
Mhm.
run that they can take advantage of. I think a lot of their core play action concepts can work against this team. We saw last week Dennis Allen's going to play a lot more man coverage. I think you're going to see against the Lions, who have what Evan Williams described as an immobile quarterback. Cover two man is something that I think they're going to see a lot of,
Good call.
and they should be able to get the ball to the playmakers. The pass rush is not as good as there's no Micah Parsons. So I think they bounce back, but I also think on the other side of the ball, I mean, you talked about the coverage bust on the back end of the Lions defense. I mean, the pass rush was really underwhelming.
Mhm.
That was surprising because I thought this Green Bay offensive line had a lot of question marks. That was kind of one of my, and they
They were
stonewalled
they
them.
were great. Yeah, I know.
Jordan Love was just like chilling.
Mhm.
Um, I also think Ben Johnson's going to unload the clip in the game.
You think? Yeah,
I mean,
I think he's pretty excited about this game. Yeah, I know. I it's I'm with you. The pass rush stuff was, the Lions were doing a lot of stuff on defense that I just talked about Aaron Glenn, where it's like they're challenging you. They're saying we're lining up and you have to beat us with this look. All right, that's fine, but like you got to do something to like make it a little hard. Like the guys are just rushing straight. There's no movement and games and twists. That's pretty easy for an offensive line to pick up if you know where you're going. And the Packers offensive line generally does. They're one of the best coach units, period, is the Packers offensive line. And so Love was like, okay, and you're running man coverage. Okay, that's pretty easy for like competent quarterbacks and competent offensive lines to beat. So that's why I'm like, all right, so what's the knuckleball you're going to throw? What's the changeup? Are you just going to run the same hits and they're bad? So I am pretty concerned just because it was mental bust as opposed to maybe just a guy losing or a guy getting unlucky as well.
talking myself into Chicago. I came into this planning to pick Detroit. I'm going to stick with Detroit. I think they're going to be able to run the football better than they did last week. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a big game in this. So I'm going to stick with Detroit, but I don't feel good about it. Nervous.
I'm going to go Chicago. I'm nervous as well. I don't know. I do think Dan Campbell.
That's close.
I have a lot of faith in Dan Campbell, but my gut's telling me Chicago because it just wasn't there. This is the sour taste of an island game. It's just that, and just really in film watching, is nothing is as good as you think it's ever going to be, and nothing is as bad as everything it's going to be. I watched the Bears back, and I'm just like, all right, this wasn't awful. This is not the sky falling. This is not Caleb Williams is never going to figure this out. This is not like, oh my god, we played Tyson Baguette. That's what I call him. Sorry, I know his real name, but so it's just one of these where I think they're a little bit more competent than I think people are realizing right now.
Um,
Or I could be totally wrong and the whole thing gets nuked.
no, I
Which happens.
NFC. I mean, yeah, no, I think Bears, Lions, Vikings games are all going to be really tricky for me early on. I'm going to need a second. Packers, I feel good about. I feel like I have a handle on who they are.
Mhm.
Okay. Real quick, Browns Ravens. This is you.
I just said the Browns rookies.
Yeah,
That's the key of the game.
look.
But there's also like a little scheme part of this. But we laugh at it. But
Girl
just
got
feel like
Fannin in our
they don't
dynasty
fit.
league, feeling pretty
Did you
freaking good
get him?
about
I
that.
know. I went with Mason Taylor.
I
And now I'm
have
regretting
him,
that.
and I had drafted Trey McBride 4 years ago. What was that? I'm just the greatest identifier of tight end talent in our league's history.
Do you have
I
Tucker
lost to
Craft
you, by
too?
the way. You didn't gloat about it. But
Okay, so I had something in the I have something in the
thanks,
drafts.
Xavier Worthy. Sorry,
I
that's
was I was gonna quote to you because I think you said Derrick Henry's really nice to have, and I was gonna say Josh Allen's better.
oh,
Josh
you
Allen's better to
Valorant.
have.
I know, brutal for me. I know.
But
We were
no,
just
these were Fannin's real, and I know their coaches really like him. I
the
really
way they
like
use
him.
him is fun too.
Yeah,
I
he's
was
truly
intrigued. Yeah,
what does Sean Payton call his guy? And everybody just has been saying
Joker.
it not Joker. Everyone just keeps
He's an
saying it
actual
nonstop.
Joker.
He's
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
actually what a Joker is. He is an adjuster, which is a receiving tight end, a slot guy, backfield guy. Him, Mason Graham had a nice performance. Carson
Schlesinger.
Schwessinger. I really like Carson. He was my dark horse defensive rookie of the year pick.
You look good.
He
You look
looked in the
good. The whole draft
preseason
class
like
looks good. Samson
I
was
know.
good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then I was gonna say the running backs,
Yeah.
if Judkins plays or not, but Sampson, one of those, they don't want to play forward. It's very apparent that they just think forward is an auxiliary back. So, but there's scheme stuff to this too. Like Roquan Smith looks rough. So if you got Harold Fannin or one of these backs on Roquan Smith, you can do some damage against them. I'm still high on the Ravens defense. I still overall am, but Jair Alexander was pretty rough, and Roquan Smith was pretty rough. So I do think, yeah, Browns rookies like that is really much. It's a big key of this game because they're going to get some touches.
Yeah. No, I there's optimism. I think they got to play the Bengals defense. I think we're gonna
Yes,
see the talent
big
discrepancy
caveat.
show up a bit here. Yeah, I think I think they're gonna turn over Joe Flacco, a few times in this one. I
Okay.
can see that. I assume we're both taking the Ravens.
Yes,
Not much
Ravens.
to talk about with the Ravens. Just
No.
angry team here probably.
Yeah. Don't play
Okay,
Josh Allen.
just me on Panthers Cardinals. Okay,
Oh yeah, I'm curious where you went with this one.
I don't think you're gonna agree with what I'm about to say. So it took me a while to watch the Panthers Jags game. This is when I was texting you on stage. Bryce Young wasn't as bad as his box score. The Panthers pass catchers were killing me outside of Ted McMillan, our sweet baby,
Yes.
who was amazing.
Yes.
Killing me. Xavier Leggett, bro,
He's so frustrating.
infuriating.
Yeah.
They charted them with 3 drops according to PFF. I looked like more, honestly. There was some pretty bad drops in key situations in this one. The other thing was like Bryce Young faced the highest quick pressure rate in the league in this game. The absence of tackle and
Yeah.
I mean Nijman. And then one of the interceptions was a really really bad decision, but the other one was tipped. He was not good. I'm not lying to you and saying he was good in this game. I just don't think he was quite as bad as the score says. And I wouldn't be surprised if he bounces back in this one because Cardinals defense, I feel like still has a bit of a ways to go, is how I felt coming out of that Saints game.
It's the Cardinals defense they were in so much dime and there's so much light bodies and they're trying to just funky you it up. Calais Campbell had a great game. It was like, are you ever gonna go away? You just keep playing well. I'm with you. Again, it's never as bad as it looks, never as good as it looks. And you watch it back and you understand a lot of his decisions. The bootleg was probably my least favorite. Bootleg and the 4th down throwaway were my 2 plays. I was like, Bryce, you gotta be better than that. The run game though still looked good. Run game was still had Chuba Hubbard's become one of my favorite backs to watch because he's a teach tape back. Like he gets all the meat that's blocked for him, which I really appreciate out of him. And God, T-Mac looks awesome. I remember I just talked about Pickens and a true X.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That
It's like, he doesn't even need separation. Screw separation. He's just gonna dunk on you.
I
I
he
know.
was facing press on the right side. I think he had the go ball. I was like, oh, is he gonna
adjust for
stack?
it? Yeah.
Right.
I know, and draws a penalty. Yeah, it's I am going with the Cardinals, don't get me wrong, but I actually do think that the Panthers are gonna be able to run on them. Like I actually think the
I think
Panthers,
so too.
again, the term natural answer they can get heavy and they like to run the ball. Like, so I actually think they have some decent answers. So it's Bryce Young versus the blitzes. Like, and he's kind of, he can be really good against the blitz. We saw at the end of last year, like, because he's a decisive player pre-snap. He is. That's his best quality is his pre-snap diagnosis. So that's the thing is like, all right, if you're gonna be funky, if I think he might catch him once or twice because I do think that he has a guy now. All right, I got 1-on-1. All right, go get it, T Mac. Go get it, Tatora. Go make a play for me. But like, that's what it's gonna come down
Mm.
to.
One other Cardinals note: Marvin Harrison Jr. looked way better.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
early on. So that's really encouraging if you're a
almost had a
Cardinals
98 yarder at the end there. I know. But
fan.
Kool-Aid
Okay.
McKinstry had a rough day for the
Yeah.
Saints. Trey McBride broke him off on an out route once. So I was like, oh boy.
Broncos Colts. Sneaky great game. Sneaky, let's figure out what the hell's going on here game is what I'm describing this as. This is you.
Bronco. I know it is. I went Bo Nix / Sean Payton versus Lou Anarumo. That's what it comes down to. Lou Anarumo did some great things last week and was like, oh, you're not Gus Bradley. You actually have new ideas in the modern age of 2024, 2025, as opposed to run cover 3 every play. Really, though, the matchup is the Colts run defense versus the burly Broncos run
Yeah.
offense. And that's going to dictate so much of this game. Yeah, we can whatever you want about Daniel Jones going against the Broncos defense and everything, but it's really is can the Broncos offense can just take care of business, like because last week they didn't against the Titans, and that's what kept the Titans in the game with a rookie quarterback on his first start on the road with a holy offense, not in a biblical way, but more of a holes in the offense, and so I just really it's just like can you take care of business on your offense? Can you run the ball? Can Nick's hit 1 or 2 shot plays that are designed for him? I don't know. Anarumo's really well game plan guy, and he's gone against Sean Payton a lot. I should have looked up some stats on this, but I don't know. Last week, the Titans had a lot of answers to the typical Broncos answers passing game wise, and that was really interesting to see. And I'm curious other teams copy it.
Yeah, that's what I said to Dominique watching the Knicks against the Titans. It was like a combination of 2 things for me. One was I felt like, okay, I definitely underestimated how well coached this Titans defense is, and they actually have
Mhm.
some decent players that, across the board, to be honest. But also it felt like they were just all over. Like every
Oh,
time he rolled out,
mhm.
so this is it's kind of like it's on Peyton, but it's also on Bo Nix. Okay, like can you push the ball downfield a bit more in this one? If Lou Anarumo throws different looks at you, are you going to get fooled? What are you going to look like post snap? I think that's a really interesting coaching matchup. Colts defense, sneaky decent, I think.
Sneaky decent.
Colts offense. I'm just really excited to find out how much of Week 1 was the Miami Dolphins, right? And
Couldn't be any more opposite. It's just the team that we think is one of the most venomous defenses in the NFL versus a walking zombie team. That's going to be an interesting one right there. The just talking about like the game plan stuff though, like the Titans had. There's a thing that Sean Payton last year really started using on passing downs. It's called dash pass, which is it sounds like a
yeah,
service you can order.
it does.
But it's a protection, and it's when you see Nick sprint out and they kind of launches a lot of overs and posts and back throws on it, and it's to make it easier on the quarterback. It's heavy protection. It's a half field read for you, and more teams are starting to use it on blitz looks. We see the Commanders use it. It's pretty popular in college now. You see Arch Manning doing it now with Sark. I'm sorry, but what was funny was last week both of his picks came on dash passes, and
Mm,
because the Titans were running the routes for him, they're like, "Oh, one of those. All right, we know
yeah,
exactly
right.
where to go in the spots." And there's another play I mentioned with L'Jarius Sneed. He just swamped Cortland Sutton, and on that play, it's a 4-by-1 that everybody runs, where it's just pick a side for the quarterback. If it's zone, you take the 4-man side. If it's man, you take the isolated side. And then you watch it, you see all the Titans defenders go, "Oh, it's that motion," and you see Sneed cheat inside, going, "I know you're about to run a slant," and he swamps it. I don't know. That's on film now. Like, you know what I mean? Like those things are on film now. And it's like, I'm very curious what the new answer is going to be. Are you
Yeah, I
going
think
Colts?
no, I'm so tempted to, but um I think Denver's going to be able to run the ball, and I think there's gonna be a bit of an awakening for the Colts offense. I mean, I like, they're really fun to watch week 1. I love all the stuff that all the
Mhm.
tight ends on the field. I think that
Mhm.
I'll be interested in seeing how Broncos match up with that, by the way, when they use that, like, 13, 12 personnel. Tyler Warren looks like an absolute monster truck
Yeah.
out there. This, to me, feels like a very heavy Tyler Warren game. I would smash the over on targets to him in this because you're not wanting to throw the ball otherwise on the at these Broncos corners. I'm gonna stick with Denver just and best unit on the field,
Yes.
but that opening performance in the offense is pretty disheartening.
It is. Yeah, I'm also going Broncos, but it's yeah. I have to see the Colts and Daniel Jones do it again. It's like I'm listening to my head in that one. Steichen did some great stuff. I love some of the designs. Jones was very efficient. The run game looked solid. The O line looked better than they looked in preseason. But it's the Broncos. It's the Broncos defense, and that's just a totally different animal.
Super Bowl rematch. We're on both sides of this one. We're gonna talk about both sides, of
Yes.
course. I'll go first. I have the Chiefs, the home team. I wrote, if the Chiefs have to blitz, and I think they will, can they cover behind it?
I mean, that's one of my. I think I have a couple bullet points. It's an interesting game. I said, as any game involving this defensive coordinator and this quarterback comes down to the blitz, like Spags versus Jalen Hurts.
I mean, so last week the answer to the question I posed was no. They could not cover behind it. Herbert was terrific. He was excellent, but yeah, so many lapses in coverage. I mean, it was kind of shocking watching the Chiefs defense back because in the game I was like, damn, they're really not getting a pass rush,
Yeah,
and then they start sending pressure and when you do that, you create vulnerabilities, and they just were not. There was just too many places for Justin Herbert to pick on.
yeah,
They ended up playing McDuffie. So McDuffie's like he's probably gonna play outside in this one. I imagine they're gonna put him on AJ Brown. But outside of him, it's like Connor, ooh, Cook. Ooh. I think they want Fulton to be the opposite, but like it's just not the secondary. I feel like we've been for so long. It's felt like, oh, Steve Spagnuolo can put any young corner safety back there, and they figured it out. And watching them against the Chargers, Nate, it really felt like they did not have it figured out. So that is a concern of mine in this one because I do think he's probably going to send pressure,
yeah.
and it's going to come down to whether or not Hurts. And it's a challenge for him and Kevin Patullo, by the way.
Hmm.
Know what to do in those situations, where to attack, who to attack, because the opportunities will be there based on what we saw last week.
Yeah, the usual ways to get after Spags is you bop him out of the blitz. He keeps bringing it. You have to bash him out of it, and by bash him out of it, I mean you hit explosives. You do what the Bengals did a few years ago. Like that's how you have to get him out of it. And the other way is you go base and you go big and you try to run on them. Oh, something big happened. That okay. Yeah, you try to run on them. And if you do that, well then okay, well then you can make Spags basic or more basic than he usually is. On like against sub looks and all that. I'm not trotting out. I saw the Eagles trot out their tight ends. Grant Calcaterra can't block a soul, and Dallas Goddard is a great receiver, but he's become an iffy blocker. At times he's up and down, depends on the matchup. But it's just one of these things where it's like I use a lot of Super Bowl notes actually when I copied and pasted some of them, and to me it was okay. Target the slot, like when you play this Chiefs because of the
Yeah,
pressure they bring, all that. Chiefs were 32nd in success rate allowed last year against slot targets. Jamari
yeah,
Conner, who plays in the slot, allowed 6 catches on 6 targets last Friday. So, but Jalen Hurts, 27th and 28th and throwing to the slot because where are his dudes lined up? They're to the outside. So to me, it's like whoever McDuffie's not guarding, if he can hit, maybe he'll hit Dallas Goddard on
contact,
like an
yeah.
outbreaker. Does McDuffie finally pick one of those off? Like that's really what it comes down to. Like it sounds so basic analysis, but really it is because the Chiefs are good run defense. We saw what they did in the Super Bowl. Well, Reed is not there anymore. They tackle well though. So yeah, I don't know. That's really what it comes down to me. And the Eagles offensive line, little, Landon Dickerson's banged up. Tyler
Yeah, well, that's
Steen,
what I was gonna
okay.
say. You're probably, Chris Jones, I feel like obviously massive for them, but particularly the vulnerabilities we saw in the interior of the offensive line. And even last week, like the Hurst was good, but the blitz got to him a few times,
Hmm.
especially. and we've seen this with him. Like if the pressure's coming from the inside and he's forced outside the pocket, that's not when he's his best as a quarterback,
Right.
right?
That's what you want him to do.
Um, he was incredibly dynamic as a runner week 1, so that's something also Kansas City has to worry about. But yeah, like they're in a tough situation where the four-man rush isn't going to get it done. I certainly not against this offensive line. But then behind that blitz, they're
Yeah.
just it's just bad. So I
Yeah.
do worry about that math problem for the Chiefs defense based on
I
what
agree.
we saw last week. What do you have for the Eagles?
Oh man, well that was really it was how he's target the slot, but the
It's
other one
off.
is
Yeah.
it's the blitzing. I kind of merged and sorry I went there, but no, and then also last week but again it's kind of a it's not strength versus strength. It's kind of it's the complete opposite, and but it's not like a true weakness. We mentioned the Eagles allowing a lot of rushing yards last week. Jalen Carter though was out for spitting, so I was curious. Does the run game get back, or can the Chiefs' run game get going? I don't think so. Like Pacheco is it's not. I've never been high on him, anyways. He didn't look great last week. Kareem Hunt's not going to get anything done. I thought the Chiefs' offensive line was up and down. It wasn't terrible, but it was up and down. And but that's the thing is like I don't think that's a strength of the team. So it's like
Yeah.
really, it's one of these things where both teams have to do the things they're not good at. I think to win. Hurts was decent against the blitz last year. Don't get me wrong, but historically he has not been good. So that is just kind of the matchup for me. So I kind of merged my thoughts. Sorry about that.
No, no, I'm with you. I also like I question whether the Chiefs can do what Dallas did, which is hunt whoever is not Quinton Mitchell. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Had a brain fart there.
Seriously though.
Or Cooper DeJean. Um,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't they kinda can't in the same way that, like, the Cowboys could, that
Hmm.
a lot of offenses will. So I just don't think that they're poised offensively. They can still put together these, like, annoying, efficient drives where Mahomes scrambles on 3rd
Hmm.
downs and they're able to, like, pew, pew, pew their way down the field. It'll happen, right? But I just think from as we saw in the Super Bowl, the Eagles are really good at tackling. They're really
That's
good
it.
at keeping things in front of them. You have to be able to run the ball, which, as you said, Kansas City's not good at, or uh, go after their one glaring, obvious weakness. And I don't know if Kansas City can in this.
It's the hardest thing. Vic Fangio's defense said it makes you do under. It's like shooting layups and threes. You have to do those things against Vic Fangio. You have to run the ball, or you have to hit him over the top. But to hit him over the top, you have to protect. All right. Are we trusting the Chiefs offensive line already? I'm optimistic, but are we trusting? Okay. Or you have to have a guy that can win deep. And it's like Tyquan Thornton is the key to this whole offense. It's just again, natural answers aren't really there for the Chiefs. It's Andy Reid. We'll see. But again, it's hard to figure out. I am going with the Eagles in this
Same.
game. Not totally out on the Chiefs. Still think they are gonna
Well,
find stuff, but it might be a bye week until they do that.
yeah, they need Rice back, and I think the
Badly.
secondary hopefully will play. Yeah, all right, will play better as the season goes
Yeah.
along.
They always do. Oh,
Also,
every
they
single year,
also
Spags gets better. Like
they
every
ran
single year, their
the
defense.
Justin Herbert buzzsaw, and I mean, he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Like people forget.
So much
So
fun.
kind of a week 1, like, hey, that you were just he was unconscious in that
Yeah.
game. I don't think they're as bad as they looked that week, but yeah, I think the
Agreed.
Eagles they match up well with them. I'm taking the Eagles as well. Okay, so we've got 3 more games, and I picked Falcons Vikings for both of us because I wanted to hear your thoughts in particular on the Atlanta Falcons. And so when I saw their away team, I thought, okay, I got it. Let's do this. I'm going to talk about the Vikings in this, but yeah, what's your key for Atlanta? Because I did not enjoy watching them week 1 as much as I
I
hoped I
didn't
would.
either. And
What the hell?
this is talk about the Vikings' new additions. We talked about the three offensive linemen. They
Yeah.
also added two defensive linemen, Javon Hargrave and
Hargrave went
John.
crazy.
They went nuts. I think they both had six pressures, Allen and Hargrave. And yeah, and the thing is, one's a gap shooter, one's a little more burly. They go against the Falcons interior offensive line that got Vita Vea at times. And he was just, I know Vita Vea is a different type of player, but it's just talent, is what I'm saying here. The Falcons offense was everything with that offense right now feels very siloed to me. Nothing. I do trust the run game and some of the designs. I mean, I love Bajan, like and Tyler Algier, all that stuff. That's the strength of the team. But it's just very. There's a lot of tells, at least to me. All right, if you're in the gun, you do this. If you're under center, you do this. If you're well, they don't do understand with Penix, but if you're in pistol, you do this. And I was hoping week one after a whole offseason, there'd be a little bit more like
Yes.
flowing together. No, very, very siloed. And that it's better defenses, like a off defense that we both think might be top five, are going to really, really pick up on those tendencies. Like, okay, you're gun. All right, you're doing this. You're gun with the back offset here in this formation. Like over time, that's what we just talked about. Spags. That's why he's so good. As the season goes along, he gets more data and he adapts. That's what I'm a little scared with this Falcons offense because it feels. I use the term siloed, where it's
Yes.
just nothing. The play action doesn't work with the run play. It's like if you're in this formation, you're doing this thing. If you're in this formation, you're doing this thing. It's actually a lot like how the Bengals were when Zach Taylor first got there with Burrow, and they've
Yeah.
adjusted since then. But that's yeah, they have talent. They have good stuff. The run game is good. It's just that it could be a little bit more if they just added just a little bit more fluidness and cohesiveness.
Bucks have a great run defense.
Yes, they do.
They've had a great. It's been ever since Vita Vea.
How about Yaya Diaby?
Good player.
Oh man,
I mean, you got the Bucks, but I thought him and
no.
Reddick actually. It was very encouraging.
I'm adjusting my Bucks defensive thoughts on the fly throughout this year. That's a top 10 defense, it looked like to me, but sorry to cut you off.
Problem is the Vikings also have an amazing run defense. So, I'm a little bit discouraged. I also I wrote down Zach Robinson versus Brian Flores.
I just don't trust it. I know.
Also, just like the predictability. I mean, it's just the outs, flats, hitch. Like, if you're not going to throw over the middle of the field against this Vikings defense, they're going to probably pick you off,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yep.
And they're just going to sit on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they're going to blitz them a lot, so you definitely want to bake in easy completions for Penix against that. And the Vikings also don't have Blake Cashman in this game, so I think Bijan is going to be a part of the passing game again. But, like, if Michael Penix isn't throwing the ball downfield, like, what are we doing here? It's the whole reason why you're there. Yeah, like
I know.
So I was just like, oh, like it was just not very pleasant to watch. I don't think Penix even played poorly per se.
No.
It was just
No.
I just didn't love the offense week one, and I really need to see some evolution against one of the best play callers in the NFL in this game. So
Penix played well enough to win, in my estimation. Like, yeah, he had a couple sprays, but he also had some big time throws. I thought, I thought, he has some strengths. He's going to miss a couple throws every game. That's just his negative. But you get over that because he doesn't get sacked and he can make some high end throws. They have a math to win. I think that's why it's so frustrating. They have an efficient run game and an explosive pass game. It's just like, I just got to see it all kind of working all together. Also, the other thing, Flores has done he'll do the 1 double 0 double stuff, not as much as these days. But if Drake London eats all those targets, well, I know who I'm double teaming throughout the entire game. So now does Penix march through and move through and find the auxiliary targets? It might be a Kyle Pitts game. Who knows?
Mooney was out. Let's see.
Yep.
I actually didn't get his status. That was actually a big deal. I think I have to think like
he was at pregame workout, so I'm going to guess that he
probably play. Yeah. So
that
when I talk about them not pushing,
it's a good call.
It's definitely probably altered their game plan against Tampa. On the flip side, offensive player of the week, JJ McCarthy.
Come on, man.
Who would you give it to? Matt Stafford?
Stafford. Yeah.
Stafford
or Puka. One of those two. Those guys.
Those two, yeah. Stafford just threw some like absolute.
Oh my God. It was unbelievable.
The corner he threw to Xavier Smith is just
40 yards down the field. That's the thing that Stafford gets.
And he
underrated.
was under pressure, and it was against the best defense in the NFL. Like, come on, get out of here.
I think the distance gets, especially on film and TV, you don't realize how far 40 yards is. It's 120 feet. He's throwing it over a defender and in between another defender.
I mean, I cannot stress enough how good this Texas defense was. The guys were like, it wasn't like busts. It wasn't the guys were on him. CJ Gardner-Johnson and Petrie were like on him, and he's just so tough and physical and fast and like.
Oh, I know.
Amazing football player. It's a joy to watch him play. Okay, back to the
Vikings. The Rams are my favorite study. Like I hate every year. I just love watching the Rams. I just they sucker me in every year.
He's a hooper. I wrote just like, hey, can you do what you did in the fourth quarter again?
Yeah.
I know that sounds silly, but or basic, but run the football well, JJ McCarthy was pushing the ball downfield.
Mhm.
The accuracy improved a lot in the fourth quarter. Felt like, he's still a fastball thrower and like that's always going to be his bread and butter. But, can you avoid the batted passes? Hold it. Can you speed up your process? Just early on, it just kind of felt like everything was taking a little bit too long. And
Yep,
also the just,
agreed.
he was just putting too much sauce on some of them. And then, yeah, but he's a rookie quarter. It was first start. Like I'm not,
That's it.
settled down, and I thought he was really good in the fourth quarter. And crucially, the run game was excellent. I think they should be able to do everything they did in that quarter against this Falcons defense. So yeah, I'm just kind of looking to see that consistency over the course of the whole game.
Yeah, McCarthy, I'm not willing to declare anything because it's it's kind of like his my Michigan evaluation. Like I thought that McCarthy is not going to get asked to do as much as maybe other quarterbacks because of the offense. But the thing is, he can do that. Like he can do it well enough that I'm like, that's why I have no concern. So like my eval on him is going to take time because then I can start
Yeah.
seeing true dropbacks on third down when it's not his first start in Chicago. Actually these types of things. So that's why you got to see the zone read element, which is I did think was a good part of his game is the athleticism. In college, he didn't take a lot of sacks, which I thought was encouraging, and not so much the first game. But no, that it's all about that run game, man. Like you mentioned already, the first half it was only 33% success rate. It wasn't looking totally great. Second half, 41%, three explosive runs. So like that's the floor of this Vikings offense has been really lifted compared to last year because of that interior trio and Mason
And they're gonna face a ton of too high all year long
all year long because of Justin.
in this,
Yep.
yeah, because of Justin, and then when they get Addison back, obviously even more so. So they'll be. This was just the problem with the Vikings defense last year is just like the lack of balance. They have these amazing skill players, and you know, offensive line's been a little bit up and down, but they have good
Mhm.
tackle duo.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to punish defenses who play shell to take away Justin. And so just the ability to do that is everything flows from there for them. It's so
You know,
obviously what
one
they went into the season wanting to fix.
Yep. It's been one of my favorite timelines is KOC and the Vikings revamping, realizing, okay, Justin Jefferson's really good and defenses play us a certain way. How do we take advantage of that? And every year they've done something. Last year, I had Aaron Jones. This year with the offensive line trio. The year before that, Addison and Hawkinson to give auxiliary weapons. So it's like, it's been one of these things I've just kept my eye on. I'm like, yeah, I get what you guys are trying to do here because that makes sense. I'm picking the Vikings.
I'm something to monitor. I think is the Jones. Yeah, I'm picking the Vikings too. The Jones Mason balance of snaps is something to. I mean, you saw Aaron Jones obviously pass catching upside. He, in the touchdown. Um, or it wasn't a touchdown. It got right to the goal line, but the vertical
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
shot.
Yeah.
But Mason had some nice pass protection reps, so it's gonna be
Hmm.
hard to get him off the field, and he's got the juice. Let me tell
He
you.
does.
Okay. There's two Monday night games. Sorry, world. They're both good. I think they're both like kind of fun games. I gave you Bucks Texans and myself Chargers Raiders. So you can go first. Bucks
Okay.
Texans. This is
It's I feel like I'm pulling the string a little bit, like where I'm just repeating myself, but it's the offensive line of the Texans, CJ Stroud against Todd Bowles and that defense. I mean, it's kind of pretty obvious when you kind of look at the cast of characters in this game. Texans early reviews, offensive line, just because it's different doesn't mean it's better. And it's very funny to me that Ed Ingram, who but just statistically, if even
forget
though
Ed
I
Ingram, Laken Tomlinson,
well, I was
a
gonna say
Seahawks
Ed
fan.
Ingram is
The all
out.
off season. Oh, sorry.
No, Tomlinson
All
too.
off season, I just remember, oh, this Nick Haley is going to come in and fix this offensive line, and
Same
CJ
thing.
Stroud, the brainiac quarterback. And every single time I heard one of you guys who are always very smart talking about this, I said Laken Tomlinson, Laken Tomlinson, Laken Tomlinson, because as someone who lived through that experience,
It's he was. It's a stat I keep reciting. I know it off the top of my head now. He was third in pressure rate allowed last year, and it looked like he was third in pressure rate allowed last year amongst guards. Who was first? Ed Ingram. And Ed Ingram eye test is exactly looks like that. He's one. I thought he was one of the worst starting guards when he played with the Vikings. That's why they Matt Harmon, who I do football 301 with, brought up the great point. He said all these new offensive linemen they added came from the worst offensive lines in the NFL. And so you got Ed Ingram and Ken Robinson from the Vikings. You got Laken Tomlinson from the Seahawks. You got Jake Andrews from the Patriots. You're not even good enough to stick with the Patriots.
oh,
And it
he
looked
was
like that again, week one. Going against Vita Vea, going against Kalijah Cansey, going against Yaya Diaby, going against Todd Bowles funkiness knuckleball defense that's really hard to discern. I think this is really cool. Going to be a really cool game to rewatch for me as a nerd, as a football nerd, because they have put more on Stroud's plate and protection and pointing and doing all that. Here's an amazing test for him. Like, this is a great test to get everybody aligned and get everybody going, because
That's
this
really
is
important.
more of a curiosity. I know what it's going to look like. It's not going to look good.
How many yards to go do you think Stroud had on third down last week?
It's got to be over 10. It's
10.7.
Oh yeah, so just like last year,
Just like
same
last year.
exact things last year. Yep, and I think Caleb. I looked it up for Caleb too. I think the Bears were like 10.4.
They were down there, yeah, too.
Yeah, yeah. So say
Um,
10.8, 10.8. Oh my god.
well, yeah,
Also,
the problem
Jacob
is
Parrish for the Bucks, awesome
yeah,
slot player.
yeah.
Circle highlight him. He's very fun to watch.
Jason Light, man, fuck, Gabuka, oh my god.
Great. No, Jason White's like my favorite
That
GM
dude
now.
is,
He's
yeah,
just a
really good at
drafting
his job.
wizard.
Okay, so I don't think the Texans are gonna be able to run the ball well against this defense, so this is gonna be very challenging and tough sledding. However, Texans defense still rocks.
Right.
So, I mean, the Rams, like Matthew Stafford, they're Kyle Hamilton once told me Matthew Stafford is his favorite quarterback in the NFL to watch, and we talked about when the Rams played him and like everything they do to try to take it away. And he was like, but honestly, he was like, when I go back and watch the game, like you don't feel bad about it because like it was
Mhm.
just 99 out of 100 throws. He makes
He's hitting.
those. What can you do as a defense? I'm paraphrasing. He did feel bad about it, but my point is, the Texans defense. That's what happened to them. Like Matthew Stafford, they weren't. It wasn't. I didn't come away from that thinking less of them. I was just like, damn,
Yeah.
Stafford still got it. They're really good. They're much better than the Falcons defense, and the Falcons defense just hold the Bucs to kind of lackluster offensive performance.
Baker was not
So
good. Baker
yeah,
below average. I know he had an awesome touchdown throw, but other than that, man, it was not a good performance from him.
I'm having a lot of trouble picking this game, dude. Like, because
I did too.
I once again default to the best unit on the field as the Texans defense, in my opinion.
Yep, agreed.
But the Bucs are higher average, and I really did not love what I saw from Texans offense week 1. So it kind of feels like another gross, low-scoring game to me.
Yep.
I hate picking gross, low-scoring games.
I think I know where I'm going.
Are you going to go Bucs or Texans?
I'm going Texans.
You're
Texans
Texans.
just need a win. They can't start 0-2. I know it's two NFC teams they would lose to, but they just need this game so badly.
Texans defense is so good. I think I'll probably go Texans as well.
No Tristan Wirfs. You know, you got Graham Barton at left tackle. I love Graham Barton. He did well in a pinch, but it's still Graham Barton at left tackle, and still insert name here at left guard, Ben Bredesen at center. You know, so
one thing to go up against Arnold Ebiketie, who was actually quite good in this.
Actually, he was okay.
I know. It's quite another to go up against Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter.
That's the thing, and we can't say it enough. We've already said it 5 times. They looked like how I expected the Texans to look on defense. Like that is like, oh, that might be the best unit in the NFL. Like that's how good they were and fast they were. It's just that they just got beat.
Okay. Chargers, Raiders. I am interested in this Raiders offense against Chargers defense because the Chargers have one of the very few players in the world who I think can go up against Brock Bowers and make it a really fun matchup. And Derwin James. The Raiders in week 1 were very heavy 12 personnel team, very aggressive throwing downfield, not just to the tight ends. They were actually keeping them in pass protection a few times off of play action, but they had a 64% success rate passing out of 12 personnel, 13.2 yards per play. Geno was bombing.
That's awesome.
Bombing them. So you go up against a Chargers team that is going to play a lot of nickel and dime, even against those looks, I think. So I'm interested in seeing if they try to run the ball on that and how that goes.
Yeah.
Didn't really look good week 1, but also it's Geno Smith. Like he's going to take shots, and against a defense that really tries to like put a shell on you. So I just think it's going to be a fun offense versus defense matchup. The Raiders are going to be fun to watch every week, to be honest.
They're what they call the week pass team, Sunday ticket team. Like they definitely are. I know I was trying to find a Jesse Minter, Chip Kelly battle if we ever had that in college, but no, this is This is a fun scheme fight, which is great. Where teams have strengths, I think both the units, the Chargers defense and the Raiders offense. I'll just focus on that. Where they both have stars, but then they have a bunch of like,
Good players.
who's that? Who's that? I was like, did I have any scouting report on that guy? No, but
Trey Tucker there's going to be shots to him in this game.
yes, Trey Tucker's been I had a stat on this. He was the fastest player in the NFL last year based on average speed.
That's what it looked
And
like on that.
all Chip Kelly likes. He wants speed. And you mentioned the 12 personnel thing. Michael Mayer is a key cog of this offense. And we got to remember how highly touted he was coming out of college in that great tight end class. He was the consensus #1 tight end. And I really like him. He's a good blocker, good receiver. But then that unlocks Bowers because they use Bowers all over. He was out wide like 8 snaps. They had him as an X receiver. Like, so they just do some really cool stuff. So that's why it's fun going against a Jesse Minter defense that's all about game planning, all about like, we're going to do this week because that's what you're good at. So yeah, it's just a fun little chess match in this game.
I think they had him as the X receiver on the
Trey Tucker touchdown. Yep.
Yeah, I remember correctly. And I was thinking like, oh, they didn't see that coming. Yeah, other side of the ball, I mean, the Chargers offense looked incredible week 1.
Props to Greg Roman. Dang.
Yeah. Get ready to learn play action, buddy, is all I have to say to the Raiders. I mean, it was just the Chiefs the backers just got wrecked. I will say the Raiders defense was probably a little feistier than I thought week 1. I was very worried about this unit, and they came to play. Pass rush, I thought, looked good. Malcolm Kuntz being back was big. So something to monitor there. I think, I mean, Crosby and Kuntz and Wilson should be able to get something going against this Chargers offensive line when they're in straight dropbacks. So, we'll see. I think that there's clearly a priority in Vegas on getting better at stopping the run as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to see if the Chargers run the ball. Like, there's people declaring Hampton a bust, and I was like, I rewatched. I'm like, what do you want him to do? Chris Jones is destroying every run play, and so that this is a little bit easier matchup. Patrick Graham's a hell of a coach. They're always going to be game planned well. But I am curious if they just if there's a little bit more balance to this game plan. Like, I thought that's the props to Greg Roman. He realized, oh, this is a tough slog. Let's chuck it. And so curious if this is more of that, usual Harbaugh split. I think it was a good way to put it.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Chargers just because I think they're the more balanced team. I think the Raiders defense maybe is not I think they're a little worse than they looked week 1, perhaps. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this is more fun maybe than people think it will be.
I'm going Chargers too, but I think this is going to be a nice, fun, close game. I think this will be a really fun game to watch.
Geno Island game could go either way.
Well, it's is it on ESPN Plus or something? Remember last year
the second game?
But no, they might go double ESPN on that. I don't know. You should know.
Game, so I don't want to.
I remember Chargers Cardinals played a Monday night game on ESPN Plus last year, and it was like it's the quietest I've ever seen the timeline during an Island game.
How dare you? How dare you? One app.
You can cut that. You can cut that. I'm sorry.
Got the slogan. I'm actually looking to see now which one's where because, okay, no, this game is on ESPN. The first game is on ABC and ESPN. Oh, 4 p.m.
Yeah, they do the early time slot one. Yeah. This used to be the Chris Berman special. Raiders, Chargers always played that second night game, and then this one Chris Berman would do a game. I always remember that as a kid.
All right. That's it for this week. Good slate of games, unless I forgot any. I don't think I did. You guys check out Nate's podcast, Football 301. You guys come out 3 times a week, right?
3 times a week. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday.
I will be back next week to once again recap both Monday night games with Dominique Foxworth. You can also check out my TV recap pod with David Dennis Jr., where we are discussing Alien Earth, which we are loving. Are you watching that, right?
Yes, 2 episodes in. I'm also watching Legion, the creator's old show.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. We are also recapping this season of The Paper, which is the show by the guy who did The Office this week. So if you're interested in hearing about that and you watched it, check it out. Otherwise, thank you as always to my friends at Omaha Productions who make the show, Kirsten Sebecki, Owen Saylor, Jack Foster, Tucker Tashin, and I'll see you guys next week.